Hey guys, so today we're out looking for Laetiporus sulphureus, which is a chicken of the woods. Now in Ontario here where I live, it grows predominantly on oak. You'll find another strain that grows on hemlock as well. But I find the oak ones tend to taste better. I have had specimens picked off of hemlock that were equally as good. But I just tend to find that the oak grows a more succulent chicken of the woods. And you've got to get chicken of the woods really early. You can see a big massive one up here I just found. It's definitely a timing thing. So if you pick chicken of the woods like a week after the rain, it's going to be full of bugs. Chicken of the woods degrades really quick too, so once it loses its nice bright color here, this is actually like a perfect specimen, because usually when you find something this big, it's going to be a little bit older. This one's perfect. Like, it literally rained the last 2 days, and we got quite a downpour, so that's what caused this. But this one's succulent. It's perfect. You can see here, I can just break it right off. They have this beautiful underside. The pores are always this like fluorescent yellow color. Yeah, this is a massive one. There's probably 30 pounds here, maybe a little bit more. So chicken of the woods, normally when you find it, this is a perfect sample. So this one's not a very good example, but if this was to age like another 3 or 4 days, the outside here will become quite leathery. It'll grow out a little bit bigger as well. But, the inside here will grow quite leathery. And basically all you're going to do is eat the perimeter around it, about 2 or 3 inches of meat just around the edge. And you cut that off and cook that up, and it's very tender, just like chicken, the texture, like cooked chicken breast. The flavor is just like chicken. It's very versatile in cooking. This isn't a mushroom you can dry out. It has to be used fresh. The only way you can preserve it for the winter or for later on in the season is to cook it up. Saute it in some oils or with some onions and whatever you're going to cook it with, and put it in freezer bags and throw it in the freezer. But as soon as you dry this mushroom out, this polypore, it turns very leathery, and reconstituting it is it's impossible. It's not very good. Hey guys, this is Cody from Fungicopia, and today I'm out foraging for chanterelles and lobsters, and I just found this beautiful chicken of the woods primordia. Just starting to come out of this old, degraded oak. It's actually just a branch that fell off, so that's kind of cool. You can see this one. This is actually when you would love to harvest chicken of the woods. This is a pretty small one, so I'm going to leave it to keep growing, but what I'll do is I'll take a section of this and throw it in one of my centrifuge tubes, and bring it back home, and I will cultivate this chicken of the woods, because this is exactly when you want to harvest. It's still succulent. You see how round it is, and like it just looks like it's juicy. When chicken of the woods gets a little bit bigger, this will fan out to sort of like, about there. And it kind of hardens up like leather. So what you normally do when you find the big ones is you just eat about a 2-inch rim around the chicken of the woods. You can see the color is just beautiful in this one. It's nice orange top, pretty gentle orange. And then the underside is just this beautiful, almost meringue yellow, super bright, like fluorescent yellow. You can see the underside there, that's the pores. And so yeah, I'll take a little chunk of this, throw it in one of these tubes here, and then I'll bring it back, and I'll probably bring back 2 or 3 samples and get a good isolation of that going, and we'll have a new wild chicken of the woods isolate available. I've already got 2, but this one looks pretty cool. Pores on the underside of Laetiporus sulphureus are actually really nice. It's a nice bright vibrant yellow color, and if you can see under here, beautiful, beautiful color. I'll just show you how easy this one is to break, how fresh it is. Just breaks right off. And so you can see the really nice bright yellow color. These guys are super tender. It tears just like cooked chicken breast. Like you can tear it into little strips. It's wonderful, wonderful, meaty, succulent, full of protein. Chicken of the woods is a wonderful find. And the smell is incredible. The smell is like sweet, like lemon meringue pie almost, but not sweet at all when you cook it. So here you can see this is some young primordia of Laetiporus sulphureus. Sorry, Laetiporus sulphureus. And it's on a big dead oak tree here. It's snapped in half. I actually saw it from the road. You can see it's just beautiful. These are just starting out, so chicken of the woods grows really quickly. These will be fully grown in like 2 days, which means these little tiny juicy, this is the most succulent time to pick them. They're really meaty, tender. The flavor is really good. And they're pretty versatile in terms of cooking them up fresh, especially at this stage. The problem is at this stage is they don't have much yield, so in another 24 hours this will grow out to about here. And all these fronds, these feathers sort of shaped polypores will continue to grow out. And so what I'll do is I'll end up leaving these for another 2 days, and then I'll come back and this whole tree is just exploding with it. So I'll be back to harvest this one in just a few days. These are perfect. So you basically see the shape here. This will continue to grow out, and that's sort of the shape they'll take. And their adult, or their adolescent stage. A lot of people say that chicken of the woods doesn't taste good, or they report that, you know, when they cooked it up it didn't taste good. I would argue that they probably ate either the hemlock variety, which actually often does taste very good as well, but sometimes it occasionally will make a not that great of a meal. So it kind of depends on the specific specimen that you find. I've found in my experience that every single one I've found on oak is delicious. And if you get it at the right time, timing is also the other thing. So if you do, chicken of the woods loses its color very quickly. So once these swell out and they get to their full grown sort of fronds, they'll lose their color in about 3 days. And what'll happen is they'll even go down to like just a pale white color, and insects love them, so after a couple days they'll be full of bugs. When you eat the old ones, the ones that aren't like brightly colored orange, they should be bright orange and bright yellow. And if they're not, there's a good chance you're going to be eating an older one. And older specimens don't taste that good. They're kind of bland, sometimes even bitter. So the key thing with chicken of the woods, you definitely want to harvest it young. I would let these grow a little bit bigger because there'd be less than a pound on this whole tree here. And if I let it sit for another 24 hours, there'll be 10 pounds at least. So, but you want to kind of get them in that sweet zone, so you don't want to let it go too long where they're, you know, they're starting to get a little leathery and the flavor goes. You want to get them just in the midpoint when they fully develop, or they're getting close to fully developed, but they still have a nice tender. They should just snap right off. That's how you know you get a really fresh one. It should just pop right off. And if it doesn't, and it's kind of leathery and it kind of tears a little bit, then you know you're getting into an older specimen. So that's Laetiporus sulphureus, and growing on oak. And yeah, I would argue it's actually one of the best edible mushrooms, gourmet mushrooms. And a lot of people claim that they've had really bad experiences with it taste-wise. Some people even said that they've gotten upset stomach. I've never gotten an upset stomach from it, even the hemlock variety. But everybody's different. I would say definitely in my top 10, for sure. So, and it's absolutely beautiful. If it goes in terms of its aesthetic appeal, it's in the, you know, the top 5. It's beautiful mushroom. It's bright orange and bright yellow, and it smells like lemon meringue pie. You can't beat that. You cannot beat it. Chicken of the woods, ladies and gentlemen. Chicken of the woods. Stay tuned. Usually when you find it, you're going to find, you know, anywhere between 10 and 30 pounds, sometimes upwards of 40, 50. Depends on how inoculate or how far it's grown through the tree. This one's relatively large for a small space, so I imagine that only this portion of the wood is actually taken over. Chicken of the woods is a brown rot, so it's not like other mycelium. Most of the strains that I grow on wood at home are a white rot, so this one's kind of unique. It'll actually it breaks down the wood a lot quicker than white mycelium will, and so you'll see like this tree here, you can even see it's chewed out, and it goes like even a reddish color. So what I'll do with this one to ensure the propagation of more chicken of the woods on this wood here, because this is relatively new, this one's probably 2 or 3 years old tops, and it gets bigger every year. So what I'm going to do is I take a couple of these shelves. I'll probably harvest this section here. I'll leave this one here to keep dropping spores, and then I'll probably take out this little section here, break off all the different fronds, the feathers, and what I'll do is I'll spread them out all along the top of here so that they directly drop their spores all along the wood here. And then what will happen is every year after, I'll keep getting more and more from this tree. And to me, that's sort of like sustainable foraging, in the notion that you know, you're taking care of the forest, and you know, if you're going to take something from the forest, it's sustainable in the way that you can continue to take more every year, and you get more and more, and it's actually to the benefit of the organism, because in this case, fungi, what they're trying to do by producing these mushrooms or these polypores is to drop more spores so they can inoculate even more trees in distant areas. So if we continue to get more chicken of the woods to grow on this dead tree here, it'll break down the wood, it'll cause a food source for insects and other small invertebrates. It smells so sweet.
It really does.
Beautiful color. Can you catch the color in that?
Oh yeah.
Looks good, yeah.
Looks good.
Alright, so what we're doing here is we cut off a couple of the shelves, and this oak tree here, the stump is the only part that's actually colonized. So what we're going to do is spread it out along the top of this one here, so the spores are directly dropped onto the oak.
Excellent.
And then this will continue to grow on the oak. When you're foraging mushrooms in the wild and doing things like this, then it's a sustainable way to do it, so that every year you get more and more, you get a little bit more protective over your areas.
Yep.
And you know, any good forager is going to be looking out for their environment. You're not going to rape the land and take everything you can. You want to try and continue the process. So that's Laetiporus sulphureus, and this has been Cody Saunders from Fungicopia, and we're going to have ourselves a nice chicken of the woods dinner. Thank you very much for tuning in. Subscribe, like, come on over and let's go pick some mushrooms together.